Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for the delayed start. There have been some issues that have needed working out, but they are all fixed now. The qualifying session has just started in the background, so I've literally just got back to the PC. So, I am your host, Still Guns. Welcome back to Huts F1 Gaming League. Actually, it's Huts Gaming F1 League, isn't it? We're here at the Singapore Grand Prix, and currently leading the way in the championship, TomTom. Yes, TomTom. Quite a way ahead of his nearest competitor, Pookie, but not so far ahead that he can consider himself safe. So we're going to jump into the action right now. Oh, well, see, it hasn't even fully loaded yet. Okay, well, that happens, I guess. Right. And the controller's being funny again. Got to love the controller, huh? Right, so the session has just started, and there we go. I was just about to say no one was on track yet. And this is actually quite helpful. One of the first people on track is Big Six in the Red Bull. We've had a retirement already. Sherlock. By the looks of things, he has a quali ban. I don't really pay attention to the FIA judgments and all that. Probably should. Daniel is also retired, possibly also had a quali ban. We've got another car out on track, that's the Williams of Surtees. Game was looking fairly quick there for a second. As in 60 FPS quick, not running in fast motion or something. Unlike Need for Speed Unbound that I've been playing a bit lately, for some reason that goes in slow motion sometimes, and it really cocks up how you drive. A couple more cars out on track, including the AlphaTauri of Laurel Fusion. And anyone who's seen the 2023 livery for AlphaTauri, who else thinks it's not, I don't know, it's not hideous, but it's not particularly good looking, as far as I'm concerned. We've also got Jabba out in the, I don't know why I was going to call it the Red Bull, it's an Aston Martin. I guess it looks a bit like a Red Bull. And we've also got the Ferrari of Goshan who's come out. Now, last week I was questioning a lot as to why he seemed to be so slow. Turns out he's switched from controller to wheel, which is something I may have been told before, and I just forgot, which well, it wouldn't be out of character for me. But yeah, that's why he's being so off the pace. He's having to deal with a new way of driving. It's kind of weird how he goes from being one of the fastest drivers in the league to sort of middle pace. But who knows, after a bit of practice, maybe he'll get much, much faster. Or maybe he's going to wish he never left the controller behind. So, Big Six, we'll go back to him. He's the first, well, no, he's not actually the first man out on a flying lap. And I was mistaken in saying that Surtees was a Williams. I don't know why I said that. He's actually in an Alpine. But Surtees will be the one who sets the benchmark as he goes over the bridge here and into the hard sort of hairpin left turn. And then through the DRS zone towards turn something or other. And then in 2023, this section is going to be just a great big straight. You won't be doing a right turn here anymore. This little detour is going to go away, and I imagine one of the DRS zones may end up being replaced, potentially. Yes, you won't get that little crooked section there anymore, in 2023 at least. And the benchmark is a 138.452. Big Six will be next. And he's going to be a bit slower. Quite a bit slower. 139.7 for Big Six. Next up was Pookie, our number 2 in the championship. He's done a 137. And we've had a second man into the 139s with Fusion. Jabba will be next in the Aston Martin. And he's not had a representative lap time. In fact, I believe he even lost his lap time, as it hasn't counted. Who is next? It's gonna be Groffel. Comes into the penultimate and final corners, as there's been a spin for a McLaren on the first straight. That is potentially Jordan. Nope, it was Isti. Don't know if it was a spin or if he was just slowing down. And Goshan has just gone faster than Pookie. So either that's a good lap for Goshan, or it was a bad lap for Pookie. Angel has also had a bit of a kerfuffle at the bridge. TomTom's on our out lap. Need to find someone who is on a flying lap. Hardy looks like he's just started one, about 20 seconds ago. Down the main straight here and into... I can never remember the turn numbers of this track. I think... Okay, this one is probably turn 9, because turn 10 was the Singapore Sling, which was round about where here was. Round about here. I can't speak today. Over the bridge, the name of which I can't remember because I'm crap. And then onto this other straight here. Sometimes they need names rather than just corner numbers, but then again, I've proved with Spa-Francorchamps, as Hardy has just invalidated his lap time. But I've proved with Spa-Francorchamps that even with names, I can never remember what what part of the track it is called. Over the bridge again, with Jordan this time, the McLaren. The MCL 36. The 2023 car will be MCL 60, the first McLaren to properly break the number sequence started way back in 1982. We've had little breaks before, such as the MP4/5 in 1989, then the MP4/5 and MP4/5B in 1990, and then MP417 in 2002, and MP417D in 2003, because the MP418 was a death trap. As Jordan has just gone P3. Then there's TomTom here. So yes, since 2004, all the numbers have been consecutive. The only difference has been the replacement of the MP4 number to MCL. McLaren Project 4 is what MP4 stood for. And now, of course, MCL is McLaren. So one wonders if the 2024 car is going to be the MCL 37, as TomTom has just gone 136.559, the first man to go into the 136s, as there's been a spin for Jabba. Yikes, he's not having a good time out there. And then we have Reese, who's just started his flying lap here in the Haas. I'm fine, generic crew. As for the weather, I don't know what the weather is like. Unfortunately, that's something I can't check. I can look at the race director, can look at all the different all the different drivers and whatnot, all the incidents. But the weather? Nah, why would I want to look at that? I'm just a spectator. I mean, I guess I can ask someone if anyone in the race, the cars, knows what the weather's going to be like. I would appreciate it, but I would imagine it's going to be dry. At the minute, it's looking pretty dry, but no idea about the race itself. Why would I need to know what the weather is like? One day they'll add good support for commentators. Yep, they'll do that as soon as they change the game engine to Unreal Engine. Which is probably in about 3,000 years' time. Look, I do like this Ego engine. It works fairly well. But, gotta be honest, it's quite an old engine now. And each year I tell myself, oh, next year they're gonna do a proper car list or whatever. I think, yeah, in 2020 I told myself that the 2021 cars would just end up being a DLC for F1 2020. Because they were basically gonna be the same cars. Which essentially they were. Because of COVID and all that, the 2021 cars were basically just grandfathered 2022 cars. They still decided to name them differently for some reason, like the W11 became the W12, even though it was basically the same car. It's got its own Wikipedia page and everything, which is stupid because it's basically a W11B. But, yeah, I told myself that because of COVID, the 2021 cars would be this DLC for 2020. That didn't happen. Each game is basically like a big old DLC. That it could have been a DLC. But each year they just release the same thing with slightly different stuff. And you know what? They really could make each new game just a DLC, because apparently they're going to be releasing the 2023 Alfa Romeo into the game. I don't know if it's going to be a permanent edition or if it's going to be just a livery, but it goes to show that they could potentially just turn each game into just a DLC pack for a base game, if you get what I mean. With how big the esports is going, yeah. The esports drivers. I mean, how many times do you see Jarno Opmeer getting pissed at the game? It happens a lot. Ooh, Certic getting a bit of a tag slapper there. Goshan still doing quite nicely. Gone into the 136s as well now. Oh, there we go. Hardy has just gone P1. Provisional pole with less than 5 minutes to go. Yeah, the esports side of things. I've been doing F1 esports since 2017. And it's really telling that how broken the game is when I'm pretty sure they don't use the safety car in F1 esports. Because of how broken it is. It's so unpredictable. mean, there's a clip that I recorded a little while back with the other league. The safety car was still out and still affecting two of the people who had left. Like the AI drivers were inside of one another following the safety car, whilst everyone else was at racing speed. And that wasn't years ago. That was on this game barely a month or two after release. And of course, we still don't have red flags. We last saw red flags in the series in 2014. We've been begging for red flags, but they decided to listen to Arava and make it so you could drive the safety car instead. And does anyone even drive the supercars anymore? It's an absolute waste of time. Oh, Jordan goes round. Ooh, TomTom now has just put in the fastest lap of the race. I thought of qualifying. He retakes pole position. I thought he was on a outlap or something, but I guess I was wrong. He's just pipped Hardy to the post when there's 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in the session. And this is where things are going to get a bit more hectic. There's a Red Bull coming in. That's 6. And that could potentially affect Angel if he wants to try and get out. More cars coming in. Some are leaving. And there's still people in the pits. Some are coming in, so not too much of a issue. But everyone else is coming out. Shankstar at the back of this little pit lane train. With 1 minute and 30 seconds to go, it's going to be tight. Very tight. If Shankstar wants to start that lap. And everyone ahead of him knows that, and they have bolted. Pookie isn't going to get another lap in. He's going to start 4th place at best. Goshan is on his outlap here, right behind the other Haas of Reese. Yeah, I need to stop looking at the chat now. I really want to respond to that, but I can't. I have to focus on the last minute of qualifying here. There are 45 seconds left in the session. Surtees is coming round to start a lap, I believe. Yes, I think so. He's going for it. There's Big Six behind? No. I thought he just came in. Maybe that was Angel I was looking at. I think I got confused there. Groffel has just started a lap as well. We've got one McLaren. That's Isti spinning! He's not going to get a lap time in. And it's going to be a very bad one. He has to cross the line as soon as he can. Is he going to be able to do it? He's spinning his wheels. He does get across the line. It's going to be a very bad lap time, though. And Groffel... Who was the person I thought was going to miss out? It was Shankstar, who crashed. Crashed on the final corner in his attempt to get across the finishing line to start his lap. He was too late. And I think as soon as he knew it was all over, he just binned his car. His teammate, though, is going to get a final lap attempt in. But the one we've got to be watching out for is Goshan, who is actually slightly down in Sector 1. That's fine. It counts on where he goes in Sectors 2 and 3, though. He's been looking pretty quick this weekend. See what he can do as he comes into the second DRS straight here. Bit of wheel spin. Poor traction. and he's still slightly outside of that optimal lap, going just slower than his previous best, and it depends on if he can ace this final sector. As Isti has retired, he's not going to be getting a good lap in. He's got a very unrepresentative lap time of a 1:46, and in fact I think I know what that was. That time wasn't actually there before, which means he binned it on his flying lap. Goshan does improve in the end, but not by a huge amount. So Isti, he wasn't trying to start a lap there. That was him on his flying lap, and he binned it at the last possible moment and ended up getting a 1:46. That is really unfortunate. What isn't unfortunate, though, is TomTom finishing P1 in that session, but not by a huge amount. Hardy in the Alfa Romeo just behind, and we've got an old Ferrari second row with Goshan ahead of Pookie. Goshan seemingly taking the time in the off-season, so to speak, to improve his skills on the wheel and get a bit faster. So, let's look at the chat again. Useful content. Nah, have a drivable safety car. That's what people play F1 for. Yeah. I mean, there's so many times in the past when I've seen Arava do a video like 10 things I want for the next F1 game, or, you know, what it says, whatever it's called. And he said one of the things he would inevitably say was, "Oh, I want to drive the safety car." Great, so that's something you could do for about 5 minutes before it gets boring. I mean, if you could race it, I'd understand. You could race the classic cars, which is why they stuck around for 4 years. I'd rather have the classic cars back, but you can't do shit with the supercars. You can't race them at all, except in a couple of challenges, and it's not even a proper race. It lasts 5 corners and that's it, and the AI isn't very good either. So screw the supercars. Bring back the classic cars. I want to drive an F2004 again. I wish I would expand the classic cars a bit more. Like, go back to the 50s if they could, like F1 Championship Edition did. Back in 2006. They had the 1996 Williams, but they also had the 1950 Maserati 250F. I think that was what it was called. From, like, you know, one of the first seasons of the Formula 1. Drove like shit from what I knew. I know, but... Oh, I bloody hope not. I mean, it's EA, but... I mean, if you want to drive those kind of cars, get Need for Speed. Or Forza. Not F1. No one's driving them anymore. Of course, they might well be in this year's game. But, how long is it gonna be until they realise, no one's driving them anymore? Which is probably why they removed the classic cars. They thought that hardly anyone was driving them. But, I mean, at least the classic cars had a bit of staying power, because, you know, they're still F1 cars. And they're still classic cars. Whilst the supercars, just... I think people had stopped playing them before last year had even ended. In fact, I think... I don't even remember when I last drove a classic car... Not a classic car, a supercar in this game. Yeah, bringing back the classic Formula 1 cars would be a much more enjoyable feature because, you know, as I said, you can actually race them. So, the grid is mostly formed up. We've spent the formation lap chatting about supercars and classic cars and the future of the game. It's now time to discuss the future of this race as we have 5 lights have come on, held for a long time. It's lights out and away we go. Difficult to tell who's getting the better start. It's Hardy got the inside for turn 1. Hardy takes the lead ahead of TomTom, who gets Porsche. Tried to say push and force at the same time. He got Porsche off onto the runoff, and he's now behind Pookie, who's had a much better start than his teammate Goshan. Had a Haas going a bit funny angle there, and I think he's lost out. That would have been Reese. One thing I forgot to do was look at the tyres that people have started on. Fair old mix of tyres here. Quite a few on hards and mediums. We've got one driver starting on the soft tyres. That's Shankstar in the Haas. Currently P10. Though he's losing a bit of ground. Lots of jockeying for position going on down the field. Jabber is in P18. I don't know if he started back down there. Kind of. He's lost 3 positions. Someone who's gone the opposite direction, Quack and Fusion, up 3 and 4 positions respectively. Angel has lost out. Oh, that's Goshan going slowly. What is going on for Goshan? I think that's just his hard tyres having a bit of an effect, but Surtees on hards too. So this could be Goshan's inexperience with the wheel going to bite him here, as he's lost a few positions. And the 2 medium runners at the front, one of which is Pookie. Pookie usually starts on the alternate strategy, but I guess this is kind of the alternate strategy. For the majority of drivers are on the hard tyres. And Pookie, within striking distance of Hardy, he's got to wait another lap for the DRS to be activated, but he's already a second ahead of TomTom. And I'm wondering how much of a difference that is. How much of that difference is due to the tyre compounds. Currently 1.1 seconds, so it's not at the end of the world for TomTom, who seems to be a little bit faster in a straight line. Surtee, meanwhile, is 2 seconds behind TomTom and falling. And Goshan trying to get it back past that Alpine. That's going to be the widest Alpine in the world. And I don't know how much of this is desync or if that was really Goshan just gunning the throttle too much. Sounds like he's getting a lot of wheel spin. Jabber at the back of the field now. Don't blame him. Can be a tricky track at times. Who can else? Jordan, quite close to the rear end of Goshan. I think this is some sort of desync thing going on here, because even Jordan seems to be planting his foot on the throttle, and he's not had a particularly good turn there. He took a bit too much curb. The strategy the game reckons is lap 18 to 25 if you started on the hard tyres. We've got a spin. Oh no, that's a car gone off into the runoff area. That's Reese, who's gone a bit too deep. DRS has been enabled now. And Pookie within striking distance of Hardy, whilst TomTom has fallen slightly behind. We'll see what the Ferrari driver can do, as currently being ahead of TomTom will allow him to gain a little bit on the championship leader. But ideally he wants to end up in that first position. He won last week's race. Just about. I don't remember the result actually, I think, but know that TomTom didn't have a particularly good result out of it, which is why Pookie is a lot closer than before. Unfortunately, this track is not an easy one to pass on. Sorry, I just had to make my phone shut up. I forgot to put it on vibrate. So Pookie, the gap between him and Hardy ahead is ebbing and flowing. Oh, he's getting a bit out of shape at turn something or other. 22, 21, 20, turn 19? I don't know. But it has cost him. He's fallen back a little bit. And actually, that's allowed TomTom to get a bit closer. Will TomTom be able to take advantage of the DRS? Just about, I think. I think he will be getting the DRS. This is going to turn into a 3-horse race. Ooh, but he's a bit slower on the straight line. I think Pookie possibly using a bit of his energy to try and stay ahead. And the gap has returned to just over a second. And Pookie actually had the fastest first sector there. So Hardy, bit more energy than Pookie. He can afford to control the pace, as being ahead, he knows that it's going to be difficult to overtake him. So he doesn't need to use as much energy. He can just hold Pookie up. Make this the widest Alfa Romeo in the world. And look at the gap behind TomTom. It's 4.7 seconds now. Surtees is no slouch, but it seems that he's just not able to extract the same performance out of his car that the drivers in front are able to. Yeah, he just doesn't seem to be so clean through that tunnel section there. Goshan will really want to get ahead, but he's got a very wide Alpine ahead. Both of them are using a fair amount of energy to fight. Ooh, and Goshan going a bit wide. Not a huge amount wide, but still. Yep, 5 laps in, the gap is already 5.1 seconds. That's a second a lap that TomTom has dropped Surtees by. That's just some scary pace. We'll take a look at the lap times, and indeed it is about a second a lap faster. Oh my god. TomTom has done a 141.7. Surtees has only managed a 142.666. I suppose old Satan is going to want to make friends with Surtees here, unless, well, eventually Surtees is going to improve that lap time, but still. Oh, and Jordan's done a very nice number. 143 exactly. So, very nice round number. It's not going to last. Oh, and someone who's done almost exactly the same time. Same thing, even. Isti, 144.003, as there has actually just been a mistake for Big Six. He's just made a mistake at the turn there, and he's lost his front wing. He's outbroken himself and sort of done a Sergio Perez. Lost his front wing. Right, so sort of settling into the race here, and Pookie losing out a bit now. Hardy hasn't used a lot of his energy, so Pookie just naturally falling off of Hardy's trail, possibly making some mistakes. Apparently still getting the fastest first sector, but he's managed to claw back some time and is back within a second, just about. He's using his energy to try and stay within that 1 second margin. I wonder how much of that is due to dirty air. I know it's not very strong on the games, a lot weaker than in real life, even when we were using the older regulations. But it's going to be very difficult for anyone to pass on this track. Someone who might be about to make a move, Sherlock. He's very close to Daniel, who started dead last in this race. Although Sherlock getting a bit out of shape on the exit of the hairpin and losing some time. So this is the starting to be the issue. Nothing is really happening. Sure, drivers are getting closer and further. Distances are changing. But there's no real changes for position. And I've got to commend the real-life commentators for finding things to talk about when nothing is really happening. The best I can really do is keep an eye on the interval times and see who's getting closer. Overtaking zones on the track. Well, you've got one at 4 at turn 5, the end of the first DRS zone, where Reese is about to potentially make a move on Jabba. There's actually something going on ahead. Angel, the other Red Bull, has lost his front wing too. Looks like he put on a bit too much welly. Lost his front wing. But yeah, we've just passed through one of the overtaking zones. There's another potential overtaking zone at turn 1. Another one at the end of the second DRS zone, where these guys are going through, if you can make it work. But it's difficult. I mean, technically any corner can be an overtaking zone. It's just some corners are a lot more difficult to overtake at than others. So Pookie, not close enough to make a move into turn 1. It's not the easiest overtaking zone. Getting closer though. The DRS is open. Hardy though, not using a huge amount of energy, if any. Because Pookie simply isn't fast enough down the straight, even with the DRS. Because this is such a high downforce circuit. Someone has been able to make a move though. Swark and Isti making a move on Groffle, who loses 2 positions in the space of a single straight. Groffle though gonna try come back. No, it's not gonna work out. Groffle will have to has gone from points to nothing in 2 seconds. Oh, there's been another incident for Big Six. I think he just had a spin on the final corner. He was showing is completely stationary. False alarm, bros. So. No! He spun again! I think his tyres are well and truly cooked. We're gonna see a Red Bull battle for positions 18 and 19. I mean, imagine if that was real life. Oh, it would be so embarrassing. Goshang getting pretty close to 30 now. Both drivers have fairly similar amounts of energy. Can Goshang make the move? Looking like it's gonna be difficult. We've got drivers pitting now. I think Jabba has actually spun on the main straight. Yes, he's spun on the main straight. Looks like as tyres are getting older, it's getting more and more difficult to well, grip through the final corners. Oh no, Big Six has lost his front wing again! Oh god, what an embarrassment! Ah. Christian Horner is hanging his head in shame. What are you doing? You're meant to drive around the corners, not put your nose into them. And Big Six retires. He's had enough. Oh, Groffel, first man to get a 3-second time penalty. It's been a while since we've actually seen some of these. I don't know if it's the drivers getting better at avoiding cutting the corners, or if it's just that we've been on tracks that are very easy to not corner cut at. But we're 10 laps in, and we've only just seen our first 3-second time penalty. It's 2 in quick succession, as Isti has got a 3-second penalty now. And that would potentially put him into P12 if the race were to finish as it is right now. Oh, it was getting very close for Pookie, though. The gap was less than a tenth at one point, and Hardy was definitely feeling the pressure. I think Hardy may have made a small mistake, because it's allowed TomTom to catch up somewhat. Yeah, Hardy is just struggling. Pookie actually getting out of the way. I reckon that this is the medium tyres starting to wear out a bit here. Pardon me. And so, TomTom is going to have the better tyres at this point of the race, I think, as with Hardy and Pookie battling each other, it's getting harder and harder for them to keep up their pace. Oh, TomTom looked like he was getting a bit squirrely there. But now TomTom is in the hunt again. His hard tyres faring a lot better. It's still going to be status quo for these two, though. Surtees and Goshan, unless one of them makes a mistake. Pookie, though, a lot closer to Hardy. Not using his energy, though. Hardy was. So Hardy definitely feeling the pressure. Yeah, I can feel Pookie's frustration. He's been stuck. Oh no, he goes round! No, Spinala! And Jabba has just retired as well. Are we about to... We've got a safety car! Jabba causes a safety car just in time for Pookie to throw away potential chances of victory. That is... And Pookie, his fuel, that's because he's used it, they all underfuel their cars. So you can't change your fuel mixture anymore. You've not been able to since last year's game. That's in F1 2021. So everyone underfuels their car in the expectation of a safety car. And, well, we've got a safety car, so now he can lift and coast a lot more. He can change his tyres, but I don't know what TomTom's gonna do. Is he gonna stay out? I don't think so. I think he's gonna take this chance. Put on his mediums now. No, he's not. He's staying out. Pookie was fortunate to escape with no damage. He's gonna be able to get some fresh rubber onto his car. Some fresh new shoes. He's gonna run them ragged. Surtees and Goshan. Oh no, Goshan's picked up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's something you really don't want to do. Ah dear, I'll just watch the cars in the pit lane. Because I like looking at animations. Ooh, Fusion putting on a new front wing. Sork is not, though. Oh, the AlphaTroid does get going, though, ahead of Sherlock's Aston Martin. Biscuit is not going to pit. So TomTom is now our leader, but his tyres are, well, they've been on since the beginning of the race. 11 laps old. It's the same story for Quack's hard tyres, Isty's and Daniels. So 4 of the top 6 are running on old rubber. Hardy and Pookie are running on fresh hards. Surtees, Goshen, Jordan and Sork are running on fresh mediums. I don't think those mediums are going to last to the end of the race. So the question is, who's made the better strategy call here? The people who started on hards and have just switched to mediums, or the people who have stayed on the hards? We've also got a Red Bull mixed in there. That's Angel. He's a lap down now. And because of the way the game works, he's not going to be allowed to unlap himself. He's going to be faced with blue flags immediately. And I wonder what he'll do. In fact, I don't... Will the game even ghost him? I don't know. Ooh. I think it has just allowed him to go. It's allowing him to unlap himself, or at least put himself at the end of the safety car queue. I didn't think the game could do that. Oh. 5-second penalty for ignoring the yellow flag. He must have a delta. Or he's overtaken the safety car and he wasn't meant to. I don't know. I was pretty sure that you couldn't overtake the safety car as an unlapped car. As a lapped car, even. So Angel did get a 5-second penalty, but I think that was just for speeding. I would have thought that the game would have not penalised him, but straight up disqualified him for doing that. Or give him a huge penalty. I don't know, we'll have to ask him later. I mean, in real life, that's something that would happen. He would be allowed to unlap himself to overtake the safety car. But here, in the games, it's not something that usually gets done. And it could extend the safety car period by quite some time. Because the rest of the field is all bunched up. But the safety car should have gone by now. So we've got to wait for Angel to catch back up to the back of the pack. This is might take a while. Because of course the average speed of this track is not very fast. with all these twists and turns. Though, of course, now that this year we're going to see a straight line from there. I'd show you on the screen if I could show with a mouse, but this game doesn't have a mouse cursor, and God forbid if I wanted to put one over it. But if you can see the 3 on the mini-map, that sort of kink. And I'm not talking about the kink that goes up from the 3, I'm talking about the... it's really difficult to tell you. It's kind of where the Zoom sponsor on the Halo is. That would just be a straight line. No, I don't think Angel broke the... Well, it's not that he broke the game, it's just... Game was not well made in the first place. Safety car is finally coming in. It's being called in very early, actually. Very early indeed. That was a bit odd. Yeah. My voice just changed all of a sudden. So, TomTom will lead the cars away on the restart on what is essentially the halfway mark of the race. Lap 15, racing will get back underway. But TomTom and his 13-lap-old hard tyres, he goes for it now. Few drivers seem to have been caught out. He's not going to be the best on pace. And it's up to Hardy and Pookie to see what they can do. Pookie already making the move on Quack. Going to try and make the move. And he's going to have the inside for turn 3, and he makes short work of the Mercedes driver, who's currently in a very good position. Currently, the second Mercedes only has 3 points to its name. The lion's share of the points in the Mercedes points in the constructors' standings has been by TomTom, with Quack, of course, only contributing those 3 solitary points. Now that Pookie has got ahead of Quack, he can chase down Hardy. And TomTom, we better spin. Sork has made a meal of turn 6. And now he's got Reese for company. Feeling quite mucusy, sorry. And we've had another spin. That's Groffle at turn 10, 11, 12, 13, 14? I don't know. He's just lost that position to Sork. Now, I think this is the age of TomTom's tyres coming into play here, because that gap between him and Hardy is slowly falling. But of course, he knows that if he can stay in front, that's all he needs to do. Just stay in front and he can control the race, but he has to pit. The guys behind, they don't need to anymore. And this could be a bit of a strategical blunder on TomTom's part here, as that gap is falling. Every corner it falls. But he seems to be a bit faster in a straight line. So maybe that's why he's been struggling. He doesn't have so much downforce as Hardy and Pookie do, who is now within a second. We won't get DRS until the next lap, lap 17. But you can see TomTom just seemed to be at an almost standstill on some of these corners. He just doesn't have the downforce of the cars behind. Oh, did Pookie just hit the wall? I've got that on replay. on my phone, which is still inexplicably running about 10-15 seconds behind the stream on the PC. Let's see, did Pookie hit the wall, or was it just me? I think it was just me. It doesn't look like he hit the wall. But yeah, so the fight for P1 is now between a Mercedes as well as the Alfa Romeo and Ferrari from before. And Surtees is very close to the rear end of Daniel, so we could see a move of position here as Sork, fastest man on track. I don't know who I want to watch here. I don't think it's going to be too much. Oh, there's Surtees just hounding Daniel here. You can see the difference in the tyres. He's used a lot of his energy in making this happen, but now he can rely on his fresher and softer rubber to provide him a bit more pace and get ahead of Daniel, who is just a bit of a freight train, really. Hardy really close to the diffuser of TomTom now. This move could happen right here. He's gonna make the move. He's taking a dive bomb. Oh, and there's a bit of contact. That's gonna allow Pookie to get past TomTom as well. He didn't quite get Hardy. Oh, God. Oh, and he goes deep! And Hardy is out of the race! He's just broken off his front wing! His front wheel! That is disaster! And what is disaster for Hardy is salvation for TomTom, who can now afford to take the mediums, I think. And there we go, TomTom pulling into the pits. He's gonna lose a lot of positions though. Other people, Isti is pitting as well. Daniel and Quack will pit as well. It's gonna be a bit of a double stack for Mercedes, but not too bad of a double stack. As look, they're hyperspeed, hyperspeed F1 team. You wish they were that fast in real life, or that fast to change your tyres. They can zoom in and out of the pits that quickly, but when it comes to changing tyres, slow motion. Whoa. So TomTom has the advantage now of some of the freshest tyres on the field, but he's got a lot of traffic. And there's possibly only 4 drivers in front of him who will need to pit. Surtees, Goshan, Jordan, and Sork are all on used mediums, and they may need to pit. But everyone else can keep going. Of course, they're still on reasonably used hard tyres as well. So it's not over for TomTom. You can't count him out. He's the championship leader, but if things are to end as they are, Pookie getting 25 points, TomTom would go to 121. Okay, we're gonna get a bit of a black screen here as we go to the standings. I'm gonna take a brief check. So if things are ended as they were right now, TomTom would go from 119 to 121 points. Pookie will get 25, so 93 plus 25. I wish I could do maths off the top of my head. I was never good at maths. Quickly pull up a calculator. 93 plus 25 equals 118. So I don't think they are going to end this way. But Pookie, if he finishes P1, he's going to make a lot of headway if TomTom can't get back up a few more positions. So it's gonna be pretty difficult. Yeah, but we've got to see how things turn out. I doubt TomTom is gonna finish in just P9. Yeah, remember what I was saying about this race being boring? It's not anymore. It's anything but. You gotta feel for Hardy. Fought so hard just to bin it in the wall. He was doing so well, he led such a huge portion, and in the end, the pressure was too much, and he stacked it. Choked. That's the word I was looking for. He choked. Ooh. Sherlock. 13 positions up. Into P5. This is driver of the day material here. If he can keep this position... We saw Jabber in a similar position last week. His teammate, Jabber, was in P4 with about 8 laps to go during a safety car. And he managed to finish P8 because his tyres were absolutely dead. But he still was able to pull out that points from that position. So now Pookie has his teammate and Surtee for company. Surtee in the podium positions. Let's take a look at the tyres again. 7-lap-old mediums. So on paper they should be a bit more grippy, but of course they're reasonably well used. And Pookie is backing the field up a bit longer than TomTom did. We could see some kerfuffles going on as Pookie goes for it. And Goshan looked like he was gonna make the move right then and there. Oh no! There's been a crash already! Fusion on the restart. Crashes at the penultimate corner. He did not even start. Lap 20 here. We are not getting a safety car. Again. The game doesn't like calling one out immediately unless there's been a massive crash. But Pookie, well, this is his time to shine, to pull out a massive gap on the cars behind and defend himself from TomTom, who is already up into P8. So, like I said, do not count TomTom out of this. I think it was Isti who maybe made a mistake. TomTom takes a look into turn 10, and there's the Haas going a bit slow and wide. That Shankstar is getting a bit out of shape. He's called Shankstar, not Shapestar. That's the worst pun in the world. But yeah, you can see the grip that TomTom has is allowing him to take much narrower lines. Lines that are closer to the inside of the corners than the car in front, which is kind of going wide. Sork getting impatient behind Shankstar, who is all over the place. And TomTom wants to get past, but he just can't. This is the widest Williams in the world, but now with the grip, he's gonna potentially get the move on Shankstar. Sork has made the move, and Shankstar gets in the way. This is absolutely infuriating for our championship leader. Looks like he will be able to make the move. Yeah, Shankstar he's actually on 10-lap-old hard tyres. And you can see the difference in pace. This is why you can't count TomTom out, as he tries to go around the outside of turn 5. Pookie is only a second ahead of Surtee, who's on those some 9-lap-old mediums. Pookie not able to make the up the ground that he would like to, as Shankstar going really wide. He's all over the road. Can TomTom make the move? No, he's got this. Haas that's all over the place. Can't seem to go in a straight line. Can't seem to go around a corner in the quickest way. But this looks like it's gonna be it now. He's got to have the inside. He is going to have the inside for turn 3001. And there we go. And it looks like Shankstar's gonna have a 2-fer or a 3-fer. It's going side by side. And Daniel was being pushed into the wall. Oh no, it was not Daniel. It was Shankstar. Lot to unpack. We've got a safety car again. Come on. It's a front wing. You can clean that up. So they called out a safety car for a front wing, but when it comes to a literal car crashing on the main straight, nah, that's fine. Just what? I mean, what is this? Oh, soft tyres going on for some of these drivers, except for Shankstar, who's putting on mediums. Oops. And now you've got... Pookie's going to be feeling the pressure now. His tyres are perhaps some of the worst on the field. 10-lap-old hards. Let's take a look at the leader time. TomTom is 8 seconds behind him. If Pookie were to make a pit stop right now, he would be P10, I think. Very good chance he would be P10. He would have some fresh tyres, but that would be his chances of victory over. I mean, look how many laps are left in the race. We're on lap 22 of 31. I think Pookie is going to risk it for the chocolate biscuit and stay on these hard tyres for the rest of the race. They're going to fare better than the mediums of Surtees, Goshan and Jordan behind. So he's going to have to hope that the 4 drivers behind him can provide enough of a roadblock for TomTom. And of course it depends on when racing gets back underway. It's looking quite likely that this could be Pookie's victory, but as I've said a million times by now, never count out TomTom. He's already up to P6. He can certainly make up more positions. But we've got to keep an eye on the lap counter. See how things shape up. The absolute latest that the safety car will come in will be lap 20, end of lap 27, I think. 28, 29, 30. Nope, end of lap 28, my mistake. So that would leave 3 laps, 29, 30, and 31, of which a minimum of 1 DRS racing lap. But we're not going to be getting there, I don't think. Shankstar at the back of the field. If he can catch up on this lap, which it's looking like he could do, we might well get back underway from lap 24. Worst case scenario, lap 25. I'm pretty sure this is only the second safety car. We had Jabba, we had Hard. In fact, yeah, sorry, it is the third safety car. My mistake. I can't count. That's why I needed a calculator. So yeah, we lost Jabba. He called out a safety car. We lost Hardy. He was the safety car, and then Shankstar lost his front wing, which was also the safety car. But Fusion, he crashed, and nah, that's fine. Okay. Shankstar didn't catch up in time. So racing will get back underway for lap 25. That's 6 laps. Oh. 6 laps. So there could be another safety car, but they don't typically get called out in like the last 2 or 3 laps. So as soon as we hit like lap 28, we're more or less guaranteed to not see a safety car, even if half the field crashes out. At least I think so. Daniel pitting now. We shall see. It's gonna be pretty tough for Pookie. Come on. How's that for audio? Just readjusted the positioning of my microphone. Don't think it's going to be staying like this because I've just sat back a bit. Safety car in this lap. We will get 6 laps of racing. Roll those R's like the spiffing Brit I am. Yep, sounds fine apparently. Okay. And Pookie, a second safety car restart in as many laps. Ooh, he's going to be feeling the pressure. I mean, I would be. His championship rival is only 5 positions behind. With 6 laps to go, he's backing the pack up once again. Not a lot of fuel to spare. It's going to be a tight one as he goes for it. For what should be the last 6 laps of this Singapore Grand Prix. I've got to sit forward again because I'm going to readjust the mic again. Little fidget. Oh no! Goshen's gone off! Goshen has just retired! Absolute disaster. I think Angel's lost his front wing as well. That's cold tyres for you. Absolute disaster for Goshen. And a bit of a disaster for Pookie, who now finds his championship rival one close placer. One place closer than before. I can't speak. And of course, we can see that another car has just crashed in a place that is not easy for a tractor to access. So clearly that's fine, it just needs yellow flags. But a front wing in a place right next to a marshal post? Oh no! Call a safety car! When the field has just gone by and you know they're not going to be back for another almost 2 minutes. Now TomTom, right behind Sherlock. And those 13-lap-old hard tyres, they're going to be hurting a bit. They're not the grippiest, and they're quite old now. Some of the oldest tyres on the field. And I'm looking at the gaps, actually, and Surtees quite close to Pookie. I wonder, could we see a surprise Surtees victory? Oh, TomTom gets a tank slapper, and he's now under threat from Isti. TomTom has to go wide, and that's a disaster for TomTom. Not a disaster, it's a huge setback. He hasn't crashed out, and he doesn't appear to have any damage that I can tell. But that's going to have ruined his pace a bit, and if Pookie could see where TomTom was on his leaderboards, I'm sure he'd be feeling a bit better about his chances. Surtees was getting close to Pookie, but now he's fallen off the pace a little bit. 1.2 seconds briefly. In fact, it is 1.2 seconds again. And Pookie starting to pull out a gap from the driver behind. Still not time to relax just yet. And in fact, you don't really want to relax. You want to make sure he doesn't want to bottle it again like he did just before the first safety car. He was lucky not to lose out from that, as we've seen from his teammate Goshan, who got one snap of oversteer and found his race ending in the wall. Isti still has that time penalty from earlier, and now he's got Sherlock in front of him. I wish I could see what the temperatures and wear levels for the tyres were like. All I can really surmise is that 40-lap-old tyres are not going to be great compared to the 8-lap-old mediums on the cars behind. DRS is enabled, and at this rate, I think Pookie is more or less safe from TomTom. There's 6.2 seconds between... See, that's still the leader. That is about 4 seconds now between Jordan and Sherlock. And the cars behind Sherlock just not able to make the moves. Sherlock defending really nicely. Isti trying to go around the outside. Credit where credit is due. He's doing his best. Oh no, that's going a bit wrong. But TomTom, he loses 2 positions. Is that 2? He almost lost 2. That's Biscuit trying to make the move, and TomTom falling a bit backwards. I think he may have sustained possibly a little bit of damage from his shunt with the wall earlier. His bit of a tank slapper. Daniel, not a lot of energy. Oh, a bit of contact between Isti and Daniel as Daniel going wide. He's about to lose the place to TomTom, I think, who has the energy to spare. He can make the move around the second. The one remaining Alfa Romeo, who's making it very difficult for TomTom to get past. But this is all but guaranteeing that Pookie will win the race. And Biscuit still hounding TomTom. I do think TomTom has potentially picked up a bit of damage here. Pookie is 2.5 seconds ahead of Surtees. He is safe now, more or less. He can keep going. This is looking like an almost certain Pookie victory. And we've finally seen Sherlock being overtaken by Isti, but Isti still has a 3-second penalty. So that is still technically Isti behind Sherlock. But Sherlock still has to try and keep pace. There's still 3 laps to go. And Isti can still pull out those 3 seconds, which is exactly what he needs, but Sherlock has no energy left. And there's a bit of contact between Daniel, who is on the soft tyres. And Daniel managed to get past. TomTom also trying to get past Sherlock. It's coming to a head. Oh, that was getting mighty close there. And TomTom up another position, and that crucially puts Sherlock between himself and Biscuit, who has been hounding TomTom since he made that mistake earlier. But still not the position that TomTom would want to be in. His tyres, whilst they're fresher than Pookie's, they're not as fresh or as soft as Daniel's, who is looking like he's going to get driver of the day here. P14 to P5. Incredible stuff. He's just been cutting through the field. I could swear he was down in last place at the end of the last safety car period, and now he's in 5th. That's some insane pace. I need to look at the fastest lap. Currently, Angel has the fastest lap, a 1:39.4. That's incredible pace.
Meanwhile, the podium positions, we've got a couple of people who don't typically sit on the podium. Surtees and Jordan. Jordan, sadly, not looking like he can get into P2, but still, P3 is quite the achievement for him. It's been a while since he sat on the podium. Biscuit finally gets past Sherlock. It goes a bit wide, though, and he loses the position almost immediately. Oh, no, and he gets punted. Oh, thought we were going to see Sherlock on the wall there. That would be such a disheartening end to a stoic defense here from this driver. He has no battery left. I think he's probably going to lose this position here, but he's doing such stellar work, keeping in front of all these drivers on fresher tyres with much more energy to spare. Sherlock could still finish in the points here, but it's gonna be close. TomTom, meanwhile, is keeping Daniel honest, but of course, because this is Singapore, Daniel is able to use the softness of his tyres to keep ahead of TomTom through the corners, and he can afford to maybe not put up his feet. I was about to say he was taking the opportunity to maybe restore a bit of energy, but nope. He's using a bit too much of his energy. At this rate, with 2 laps to go, Pookie is almost 4 seconds ahead of Surtees, and on an absolutely different level here. He's used up all of his battery. Maybe trying to go for fastest lap here. I don't think it's going to work out, but still. 4 seconds ahead of the next closest driver, Pookie, unless he bottles it. And I hope I don't cause a commentator's curse there. But looking like he's going to pick up a second victory in a row here at the Singapore Grand Prix. As Bubbly has just, what's the word? Subscribed on Twitch. Currently on a 1-month streak. Way. Bubbly usually would be taking part. What car would he actually be driving? I don't remember. Bubbly! What car do you usually drive? I've forgotten. Oh no. Oh, this is embarrassing. I can't remember what car he drives. Oh, maybe it's the car that's not here. We are missing a car. And it's a Williams we're missing. But I don't think that's Bubbly's car. I don't know. The Red Bull. So it looks like we've got Angel as a substitute for Bubbly. Because we've got 2 Red Bulls here, Angel and Big Six. Big Six who retired some laps ago. I don't think we're going to see many changes. Isti actually hounding his teammate Jordan here. Could Isti get on the podium? There's only a few corners of the lap left. And Isti actually makes the move up the inside. I wonder if Jordan let him past. I do wonder. Sherlock, meanwhile, lost another position. He's into P8, but still... Oh, and I just realised he's got a penalty himself. I think he just picked that up recently. So, for all his hard work, Sherlock is going to not finish in the points anyway. See, I feel gutted about that. Someone I don't feel gutted for. 6 seconds ahead of Surtees. Pookie picks up a second win in a row. Surtees picks up a second podium just ahead of Isti, who actually, of course, he had the thingamajig. Penalty himself, I forgot about that. TomTom will finish P5. He doesn't lose as much time, so much ground in the championship as he would have if he'd finished P9, but still, Pookie made up 10 points on him. That is crucial. Sherlock did actually finish in the points. He's got a single point to his name. Whereas Daniel finished P4. Just ahead of TomTom, who was 1.5 tenths behind the Alfa Romeo. Stellar stuff. Was looking a bit like a snore fest at first, as Daniel rightfully gets driver of the day. But, wow. What a race it turned into. A lot of drama. There we go. There's your trophy, Pookie. I should, if he wants to. If Angel wants to speak to me about their safety car, he can, but I'm not really bothered about it. So, Pookie takes the race victory. Surtees P2, Jordan P3, Daniel P4, TomTom P5, Isti P6, Biscuit P7, Reese P8. Very nice result for the Haas, who finishes where he started. Quack finally gets some more points to his name. 5 points for the second Mercedes driver now. And Sherlock gets P1. You know, I think he deserves a second driver of the day. You know, that's my personal driver of the day. Sort of driver of honourable mention for Sherlock, who stretched those hard tyres like they had never been stretched before. I'm allowed to do that, aren't I? I can nominate a driver for a personal... Like, someone can get a cash prize if I call them my driver of the day enough times or something. I don't know. Driver of the season. Oh, God, I just remembered. Driver of the season. Who's going to be driver of the season? Fuck! Oh, no. Oh, no, that scares me. That's something I've never had to do before, because... Who is my driver of the season? Well, I'd have to probably rewatch all the streams. Oh, God. Yeah, see a Bond. Yeah, and I think that, ladies and gentlemen, is gonna be that. If Angel does want to speak to me, he can. Meow! That's standings. Oh, well. Let's see. No, that's just next week's race calendar. It will be Imola next week. Should be at 7 o'clock this time on the 19th of February. So stay tuned for next week. I should still be taking part in next week's race. Well, thingy-majig. The one race I know I won't be taking part in is going to be round 15 on the 16th of April. So that's a ways away. But yeah, let's do the maths again quickly. So TomTom gets 10 points, 129 points. Pookie gets 25, which we know is 118. Ho, 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 ho. 129, 118, there's 11 points in it. And Surtees, with that P2, is able to pull away from Hardy, who, because he didn't score, is going to be below Jordan now. He's going to go from P4 to P6. Oof. Just absolute oof. Daniel is going to overtake Big Six. And Bubbly as well, because he didn't take part today. So he will be P7. Right behind Hardy. Sort of. Still a ways in the season to go. It's only round 6 next week, round 7 at Imola. And until next time, do take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week. Take care and good night.